Hey, how's it going? Uh, Thanks for the click, as always. This is I guess would be the second kind of February-ish if you start the calendar from the first illustration to the second one. This would be February-ish illustration. Um, I'll put on some music and show you the process of me doing that. Start off with the rough. Kill that. I'm just labeling a layer using the brush tool. Paintbrush. I noticed that when I'm zoomed out, I don't know if it's just because the DPI is at 300, the detail, but when I'm zoomed out, if you noticed, you see how jagged and kind of laggy and slow the reaction is of the brush strokes? I don't know if that's a RAM issue or whatever, but if you're having that same issue, if you download Krita for free and get a tablet and get to drawing like this, it's okay for rough stuff, but if you're trying to define details, notice the fixes when you zoom in. You just use your middle mouse and scroll, to zoom in on your little middle mouse wheel, and it'll be smooth. Just playing real time the rough process. That's my favorite because it's the most relaxed. It can be all jagged. And this is good to do again and again, so you get a feel for a solid fundamentals in the rough stage. If you get your rough to start being in a place you like it, I think that's the challenge of every artist, always working on just being able to quickly and effortlessly as possible get the backbone right where you want it to be for your illustration. I'm not sure if this photograph here is actually fair use. I hope it is. That's what I put in the filter, but then once I started clicking images and related images, this is what I got. I'm just using it as reference. And that's my cheat, because in all honesty, I wouldn't be that great of a caricature artist, because I'll draw another human being that's in this pose, and it'll look kind of like it. But the features, I don't know, in order to nail where the features are to look like the person I'm referencing, it's hit or miss with me, and miss more often than not. That's good for this because I'm not trying to do a tracing or a photo exact replica of this. I'd like to kind of change it and make it my own. And I'm thinking that the theme I'm going to use for this calendar is going to be, a female illustration for the odd months and a male illustration for the even months. I'm going to try to look up the history of each month and see if there's anything that pops to me. Like February I looked up, and turns out February, I guess there used to only be 10 months in the year for a long time, and then like the Greeks or Romans, one of them started squeezing in a couple more, and February was one of the additional ones. It's based on a female or something, but I didn't hear anything that popped to me specifically. I know it's Black History Month, So I thought maybe if people are using this, you know, get it out in January and use it at the top of the year. I'll have a black model, African American model, to, you know, recognize that. I'm going to speed this up here, get the gist of it. You guys notice I added this as a 6-fingered human. I struggled with this hand for some reason. I got cocky. I used to think, you know, I animated for a little bit, dabbled in animation, did mostly cleanup art for like a year and a half at a local animation studio. Great place, by the way. Shout out to Echo Bridge. I hope they don't mind me blasting. But you know, I drew hands all day for a big chunk of the day and thought that I had them nailed. Because when I draw them out of my memory, I don't run into stuff, but using a reference and trying to get the proportions of this hand, yeah, I struggled. That's why a lot of people are like, I hate drawing hands. Yeah, and if you want to see me struggling with the hand, that's pretty much in this one. Oh no, this is cleanup. I guess it was this one? Yeah. Oops. You can see me struggling. Made a new layer over here and said, oh, I'm just going to redraw it. It's easy to clean it up. And even then I was like, I don't know, something about it was looking off to me. I think because this guy's proportions has these long fingers, and I think I really wanted to match the proportions of this guy's hand. And I guess subconsciously I always tend to make the proportions like my hand, where I have like big palms and stumpy fingers. It just wasn't looking too small, not too big. I don't know, I couldn't find the sweet spot. And here's a technique that I'll use sometimes is I'll, you know, try to make chunks and circles to represent knuckles to kind of get the structure better in my mind to help me clean up those forms to make them look accurate. Still wasn't happy with it. I was like, wait, it has to. Where am I off? And I drew skeleton, thinner lines, and it just kept on looking goofy to me. Anyways, just let you all know I struggled in case someone is looking at this. Showing you how I deal with stuff when I struggle with hands. That's the method I use. And here's cleanup. This is me, just went over to the old illustration to match the line weight, which ended up being about 12 pixels. In Krita, it's always good to remember that, because if you switch to tools, it defaults to like 40 pixels. You can use the brackets, just size up and size down, or type it in here to get it back where you want. But to get in the habit of remembering where it was. And I was using if you hit the V button, it's like the equivalent of hitting shift and...
worry becomes wonder, and the mundane becomes
Hang on,
the
I'm
magic.
going to skip this dang ad if I can.
David Blaine Ascension, August 31st,
Or maybe not.
2020.
Sorry about that. You guys have a baked-in ad in this video. But I'd hit the... if you hit the letter V, it lets you kind of make a line with the drawing paintbrush. but it doesn't like keep, I don't know, it wasn't too user friendly, so I ended up switching to the line tool anyway. And this method of cleanup is actually very time consuming. Like, this took me about 2 hours to do the cleanup. Now, granted, I did the background and did some coloring, but you'll see where I clean up and don't even do this technique where I'm trying to have angular look to it and just go straight away with the brush. It only took me 20 minutes to clean it the whole figure. And my thought process is I wanted to have one side that was more stylized and angular, and then on the back side I'd have the more rounded style for the back page of the coloring book. The difference is so subtle that unless unless someone else is an artist and has a keen eye, I don't think they'll notice. And if you got the calendar coloring book and you're watching this video and you heard me say it, now you should be able on the back side where it's just the line art, notice that the lines, instead of being angular, are going to be smooth and rounded. Maybe I make another one. I'm just going to skip this whole process because it's so time consuming and barely noticeable. I'm not exaggerating it in it. Or if I do it, I'll make sure I push it more and exaggerate it more. It was my first attempt at it, and I'm not really satisfied with the way it turned out. Now, I'm going to buzz through this one a little faster. I might try to hit the sweet spot of time-lapse so you can watch it and it's not too snappy to the point where it's irritating to watch. I try to make these videos less than 10 minutes long, if I can. Pretty much done with it. How long was that? Yeah, I guess an hour in. It takes 3 times as long with that method for me to do cleanup. I had an idea with some of these brushes that they have with what I wanted to do. I just had to play with it a little bit because I didn't like how it was fading or it looked too shaded. I had to kind of play with the pressure sensitivity and dial it in. And I wanted to limit it to just that much screen tone in black, but I decided to add more screen tone in 2 different shades. Ended up being a little tricky because, as you can tell, it kind of has a faded look. Like the screen, the pressure sensitivity on the stylus is hard to. I was trying to make it so it's like a flat look. I wasn't sure if this would bother people because it's a coloring book and they feel like it's already colored, but that's why the opposite side, I'm just going to have just the line art. Background, I just decided plain old lines. I'm trying to get too complicated with backgrounds. And that's just me wrapping that up. And here's the cleanup of me making the smooth lines. Just put the layers at, the opacity down and go over them with the brush without trying to do any angular technique. Just zoom in, 12 pixels brush size, the other one. And make sure you're on the right layer. See, I started doing the work there and I wasn't on the right layer. Your undo button, or the shortcut keys, Command Z, or your best friend. Maybe you fudge up a touch. And I'm on the right layer. Well, that's it. You saw the cleanup process of that image. That's this here. I guess I'm gonna post this and then convert once it's posted, copy the YouTube video thing and go to convert YouTube to QR code. Put that in here and then post them on Etsy in case somebody wants to buy them for digital painting, coloring, or just whatever. Print your own. Thank you very much for the click. Hope you have an awesome day. If you enjoy these, that's awesome. Hopefully I don't ramble too much and you get something out of it. Y'all take care, and I'll see you on the next illustration.